Back with the game here, with a 0 sigil hand. We're going to throw this back and see what happens. I'm excited to see how the deck performs. We have Lightning Storm, which is good against an aggressive deck. If we get to hold on to it, which if our opponent cares, he probably won't let us have it. No, takes the Charge Hand Flail. Interesting. Not a card that I could cast with the power that I had at my disposal. So not a card that I'm too unhappy to see gone. Nor is this a card that I can cast with my current influence. But it's interesting to see if my opponent is on a Party Hour deck playing Sabotage. Could just be on Felm. Looks like Felm Forge. Okay. So Felm Forge is a deck that usually uses a lot of influence granting strangers in order to pump up the various champions, as well as this card here, Statuary Maiden. Displays a bunch of the best cards in Fire, Shadow, and Primal, whereas we are playing all the best cards in Fire, Justice, and Primal. Clearly at odds with each other. We don't have too many units to make Statuary Maiden matter, per se. If our opponent has a torch, he gets to take out the staff. So I'm going to hold off for now on playing the staff until we can protect it with something a little better. Maybe take out those maidens there. We do have to be worried as he hits 5 Shadow because Champion turns online. The question is he playing Scouting Party? He knows about this Lightning Storm, but we would want to hold on to it if he was playing Scouting Party. So I think for that reason I'm gonna hold it back. Champion is a concern, but he doesn't know if I'm sandbagging a harsh rule. Wisdom of the Elders is interesting, but I think I'm going to try to deploy the Staff of Stories now and see what happens. This will force him to commit a champion, a couple torches. Are we going to get multiple torches out of him? We are. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that, since we traded multiple torches for essentially one card. And there's an Icaria, so Icaria is pretty good against Felm Forge, especially since we've got those cheap torches out of his hand and it doesn't look like he'll be able to spend all of his mana or power. He will not be able to spend 2 removal spells on it. If he does, it's going to be pretty bad because these Statuary Maidens are going to get pretty good. But here's a card that interesting. Okay, so since we drew the Harsh Rule and we can get the 3-for-1, I'm just going to go for it. Once these maidens are off the board, I'm a lot less worried about throwing Icaria into whatever removal he's holding on to. And it doesn't look like he has any good plays to threaten me with. Play the Seek power because the only thing we're going to be holding up is Torch, and we have more than enough power to do that. Plus this thins our deck for the Warcry trigger. He has the first Death Strike, which probably means he has the second next turn, but we're going to get the Warcry trigger out of it. And force 2 removal spells. So we're grinding out the grind deck of Felm Forge, which is actually called Felm Storm now. It's interesting. Foil Death Strike, very pretty. And question is, what is he returning? Harbinger? Harbinger's not that exciting. We can just stun it down for a while. Or we can close out the game in a relatively quick fashion, I expect, with a 14/14 Sword of the Sky King. Sword of the Sky King is the sort of card that you're happy to see receive an Icaria buff. Now, unfortunately, stun doesn't work the way that you'd like it to with weapons. You can't attack past it. But we drew a second torch, which means that if he doesn't have some kind of answer to this, we do get to push through and win the game. So that's a game plan against Feln Forge. They try to grind you out with superior cards, where while we played our cards in such a way to get 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s on him, slowly build up on card advantage, force out his removal, and eventually we played a large unanswerable threat. His cards didn't line up that well against us. He didn't have any cheap champions that could have really punished us early on, but the Eye of Winter did work in slowing down his development, and I was happy to get those torches out of his hand, as they would have allowed him to trade far more effectively power-wise with Icaria. But luckily we drew the Sword of the Sky King pretty quickly and was able to finish him off. So that was a good showcase. I'm looking forward to the next game.